human life. Not only in our solar system, but in this entire universe. Only Earth is where it is found, even though the universe is very vast. But for now, it seems to us that maybe we are alone in this universe. This fact creates two kinds of emotions in us humans. Some people get scared just thinking that human civilization is completely alone in this infinite universe. On the other hand, some people believe that it's fine even if we are alone. We humans have the entire universe where we can go, where we can rule. But the thing to think about is that even if our existence is limited to Earth, humans have come to this Earth. More than 300,000 years have passed. Have we been able to leave Earth and go anywhere else? Before July 16, 1979, the answer was no. This is the date when humans first set foot on the surface of the moon under the Apollo program. Today, it has been more than 50 years since this event, and even today our answer is the same as it was 50 years ago. Yes, we have been able to reach the moon, which is about 400,000 kilometers from Earth. But those historic footsteps on the moon still stand as proof of our existence as humans. In the Apollo program, we didn't just bring back photos and samples from the moon. In fact, we left behind many things there that will remain on the moon for a long time. Some scientific equipment like retroreflectors, lunar rovers, landers, seismometers, and much more besides. But there are also some marks we've left on the moon that will make our future generations proud. Like footprints, footpaths, and rover tracks. All these marks are still intact in the moon's soil. But for how long? Will they stay there forever, or will they eventually disappear over a long period of time? Some believe these footprints and other prints will remain on the moon's surface for millions or billions of years. Yes, it's true that there's no atmosphere on the moon, so there's no wind and no dust blowing around. So because of all these reasons, there's no question of those prints getting erased. But still, there are some mysterious processes happening on the moon that are erasing these footprints much faster than we ever imagined. Behind these prints' disappearance, there are some internal factors like moonquakes, thermal expansion and contraction, static electricity, and besides these, those mysterious processes happening inside the moon. There are some external factors like solar events, solar and cosmic radiation impacts, etc. We will have to identify the locations where these events happened, the timing of the events, and the safety measures. In that video, how are the complete expectations being formed? Yes, one factor is that the moon's brightness is still remaining. Now, how will these prints be erased from the moon's surface? We have three possibilities for this. The first possibility is that they might be violently erased in one go. For example, by an impact which could be an asteroid or a meteoroid impact. The second possibility is that material starts to get slowly removed from these prints, or they begin to deform. Shaking and vibrating of the moon's surface would be responsible for this. Particles will be removed from them and the prints will start to get erased. The third and final possibility is these prints, particles and other items will be buried and disappear. This can happen due to atmospheric particles and precipitation. Jan may be very far from our Earth, but that doesn't mean it is safe from all the dangers that usually come to our planet. This is space. It doesn't show mercy to anyone. All those dangers are present on Jand as well. They can come to any other planet in our solar system, traveling through our solar system. Small dust grain particles, large bodies like asteroids and comets, cosmic ray particles and radiation. You will find all of this on the moon. By looking at the dark side of the moon, anyone can understand what kind of conditions the moon went through during the early stages of the solar system. The smallest and the largest craters on the moon tell the whole story. By studying the lava flow and small new craters in these dark regions, scientists have found this out, that these impacts have decreased over time. And that's why we don't see large new impact craters on the moon today. although this is actually a big relief. On the other hand, if we talk about Earth, about 33 metric tons of material falls on Earth every day due to asteroids and meteors. However, this is an average calculated from data over a long time scale. But compared to Earth, the moon is much smaller in size, and for such objects, the moon is a small target. You can roughly assume that of all the material that falls on Earth, only about 7 to 5% actually hits the moon, and this figure is about 2,460 kilograms per day. Now this fast-moving material can have a speed of about 2 to 7 kilometers per second. When it collides, it will release so much kinetic energy that we can't even imagine. For example, if a 5-kilogram meteor hits the moon, it will create a crater about 30 feet deep on the moon, and about 75,000 kilograms of material will be removed from that crater. Now we know how much material hits the moon and what effect it has on the moon, but the thing to notice here is the total surface area of the moon. It's 38 million square kilometers, equal to the entire continent of Asia on Earth. 2,460 kilograms of material will fall, mostly randomly distributed across 38 million square kilometers. These are mostly small particles with an average mass of only about 0.0001 grams. That's it. Apart from this, solar winds, solar flares, and solar particles released from coronal mass ejections also collide with the surface of the moon and rearrange the particles of lunar soil. Apart from this, gamma rays and radio waves, which are present everywhere in the form of cosmic background radiation. Cosmic particles like cosmic rays also make their way to the moon. All these things act as a catalyst in the process of those footprints disappearing. Our moon is filled with many volatile elements and compounds. Lunar soil contains hydrogen, methane, ammonia, and more. When these particles coming from space hit the moon's surface at high speed, all that energy gets transferred into these elements. As a result, they get excited and fly off into space. And sometimes, after escaping the moon's gravity, oxygen, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, calcium, titanium, and iron are found on the moon's upper surface when the energy from these impacts and sunlight falls on them. For example, sodium quickly releases its electron and becomes ionized, and the solar winds easily carry away these ionized particles. So all these things have always been happening on the moon and will continue to happen like this. If we draw a conclusion from all these processes, the moon is losing its atmosphere every moment, which is really a sad part of reality. We usually say that the moon has no atmosphere, and even if it does, it's very little, but how little is it? Let's find out. If we talk about Earth, at sea level there are about 10 to the power of 19 molecules per cubic centimeter in the atmosphere, but on the moon there are only about 1 million molecules per cubic centimeter, and most of these are noble gases which mostly stay in one place because noble gases don't react much. When there is a shower on the moon, as soon as the meteor particles hit the moon's surface, some dust particles from the surface get lifted and enter the atmosphere. Because of this, the atmospheric density here increases slightly. And then, when this dust settles back on the surface, the process of the footprints degrading becomes twice as fast. Human activities like landers, rovers launching and landing, including natural activities like meteor showers, can erase these footprints, footpaths, and rover tracks in about 1 million years, a few 100,000 years, or even in a few thousand years. So, more concerning than the impact here are the settling down particles, which will cover these prints with a top layer and they will disappear very quickly. Now, let's talk about internal events, that is, activities happening on the moon like moonquakes. Ever since we started trying to understand the moon, we've left several seismometers there to record the movements happening on the moon. Recently, India's Chandrayaan-3 has also confirmed moonquakes. So with so much data, we've divided moonquakes into 4 parts. Moonquakes that occur about 700 km below the surface. These are mainly generated due to the tidal forces of our Earth, surface vibrations which are caused by the impact of an asteroid or meteor, and thermal quakes which are formed due to the day-night cycle happening on the moon. Due to the high heat during the day, the surface of the moon expands, while at night the temperature drops to minus 180 degrees Celsius. So the lunar surface starts to contract, which causes thermal quakes. And at number 4 are shallow moonquakes. These occur 20 to 30 kilometers below the moon's surface. The first 3 types of moonquakes are very small on the seismic scale. They're mild and harmless. They can't rearrange or deform particles on the lunar surface, but shallow moonquakes can reach up to 5 on the seismic scale. These have thousands of times more power compared to the other moonquakes. If we compare it to Earth, the most powerful earthquake here can last up to 2 minutes, but on the moon, shallow moonquakes can show their terrifying form for up to 10 minutes. If even a single moonquake occurs in the areas beneath those prints, then the time scale of millions, hundreds of thousands, and thousands of years will become meaningless. Because here, everything will be over in just a few minutes. It will feel exactly like that, as if humans had never set foot on the moon. During its 8-year lifespan, the Apollo seismic network studied about 28 high-magnitude moonquakes on the moon. From a recent study done with that data, one thing is clear: the moon is very active within itself. And because of this, in the last 100 million years, the moon has shrunk by up to 50 meters. As its core and interior keep cooling down, it keeps shrinking as well. The large magnitude moonquake recorded at the Apollo 17 site had its center about 13 kilometers away. But still, the footprints, the astronauts' paths, and the lunar vehicle tracks were not affected at all. From this, one conclusion can be drawn. If the footprints were erased due to a moonquake, then the epicenter of that moonquake would have to be directly beneath the landing site, which would be a very rare event. So we can say that the marks of human civilization's footsteps can remain on the moon for millions or even billions of years. Only in some rare cases, if by chance an asteroid or any other impact occurs directly on them, or if a very big moonquake occurs right underneath that place. Only in that case can these prints be erased, and the chances of such rare events happening are just 1 in millions or billions. Human activity will clearly damage the moon's surface faster. But if humans reach the moon, they will definitely try to preserve these relics. Space exploration has always tested the boundaries of human civilization, as National Aeronautics and Space Administration is preparing to land astronauts on the moon under its Artemis program. But along with this, the dangers present on the moon will become a reality for us with this mission. Imagine that an astronaut has gone on an expedition to a remote area near the south pole of the moon. But then a major incident happens. That astronaut goes deep into a crater at the south pole of the moon, which is always covered in darkness, where no radio signal can ever reach, and the temperature drops below minus 173 degrees Celsius. After this incident, all communication with that expedition and the astronaut is lost. That astronaut, in temperatures below minus 173 degrees Celsius and with limited oxygen, now he is fighting a battle between life and death. A very dangerous and remote area on the moon, where nothing can be seen for miles. No global positioning system, no radio connection. Besides, the most dangerous thing is that he can't call anyone nearby for help there. Although astronauts are experts at dealing with such situations, they are specifically trained to handle these kinds of circumstances. But the conditions on the moon are not found anywhere else. Where blackouts are common, the area is completely filled with deep pits, craters, and large rocks, which makes any rescue operation for that astronaut extremely challenging. Whereas on Earth, we can organize any rescue operation within hours. But on the moon, any such rescue operation is going to take much longer. Every second will face a new danger. In the harsh environment of space, in the vacuum of the moon, any equipment can malfunction. The navigation system can give us errors, and all these instrument failures can prove fatal for those living on the moon base and for astronauts. So, to deal with all these problems, the new lunar distress system is going to be useful here. A team of researchers from University of South Africa, that is, the University of South Africa, has developed it. This system can prove to be a boon for astronauts going to the moon. It has been designed keeping in mind the harsh and unique conditions of the moon. This system ensures that our astronauts on the moon, no matter what situation they are in or if they are working in any remote area, can send a distress signal to their base where someone will be present to help them, and this groundbreaking technology can save many lives in the future. This technology is going to be the future of space exploration because it's not limited to just the moon. It will be used everywhere in the future. So in today's video, we will explore some unknown dangers of lunar exploration that really make National Aeronautics and Space Administration think. And how will the rescue system work on the moon outside our Earth, and how can it help us here on Earth? So fasten your seatbelts because this exciting journey is about to begin. Dangers of lunar exploration. Exploring the moon, colonizing it, sounds very futuristic, science fictional, and extremely exciting. But it's one of the most dangerous environments where humans would ever want to live. There is no atmosphere on the moon. This simply means that there's no air to breathe, and there is no weather there. And there is no such protection either that can protect us from the deadly radiation coming from the sun and space. During the day on the moon, the surface temperature reaches up to 127 degrees Celsius, and at night, this temperature drops below minus 173 degrees Celsius. And in such a place where there is such a huge shift in temperature, without any shelter or proper equipment, this shift can kill humans within minutes. The south pole of the moon, where National Aeronautics and Space Administration is preparing to send its future missions, is even more dangerous. That area is filled with craters submerged in permanent darkness, which are miles wide. Sunlight never reaches these dark areas. Because of this, some of these craters are so cold that they are among the coldest places in our solar system, and if astronauts go on an expedition to these areas, they will have to rely completely on their equipment. And if even a small mistake happens here, the consequences can be fatal. Another major risk comes in communication. Radio signals can't fully cover the moon because of its rough and uneven surface in remote areas. If an astronaut gets into a deep crater or gets stuck in such an area where radio signals can't reach, he won't be able to contact mission control or the nearby colonized areas. The harsh environment of the moon and that loneliness will be such that calling for help will become impossible for him. In such survival situations, time will be everything. Every second without communication will continuously decrease their chances of survival. And after this, there are also some mechanical risks like the spacesuit, rover, and life support system. All these things are designed to operate in the harsh environment of the moon, but they are not completely foolproof. And if even one equipment failure happens, like a crack in the helmet visor or a malfunction in the oxygen tank, or you could say the rover dying, it would put the astronauts in a situation where there would be no way out and there would be no one there for them. And in the vacuum of space, just like in a game, there won't be any second chances. During the Apollo missions, the astronauts were fully aware of these dangers, but those missions were only for a few days. But National Aeronautics and Space Administration is Artemis mission, in which astronauts may have to stay on the moon for a few weeks or even a few months. And the longer they stay on the moon, the higher the chances that they might get stuck in such a situation or that something could go wrong with them. And that's where having a reliable rescue and communication system becomes extremely important for the colony that will be built on the moon. Without this, we can't even think about exploring the moon for a long time. There are some unknown factors that we often don't consider, and there must be similar factors on the moon as well that can ruin our planning at any time. Our astronauts can get into big trouble at any time, and the loss we face at that moment could prove to be the biggest setback for the entire space industry and space exploration. And that's why we really need new alarming systems. How Lunar Distress System works. The new Lunar Distress System is a technological breakthrough for us, designed specifically to address some unique challenges that arise during space exploration. However, it is based on the existing COSPASSAR-SAT system, which is a satellite-based rescue network that we often use on Earth. But to adapt it to the extreme environment of the moon, many changes have been made to it. There is no on-ground infrastructure or global positioning system on the moon, nor are there any towers through which we can transfer signals. So this new lunar distress system will be completely based on a constellation of satellites that will be orbiting the moon. How does this work? For example, suppose an astronaut is stuck in a dangerous place on the moon. So, he will activate a low-power emergency beacon through this system, which will be attached to his equipment. This beacon will be a device that will send the signal directly to the satellites orbiting the moon, and then those satellites will forward the signal to Earth-based mission control or to a nearby lunar base on the moon. This means that if any astronaut is really in trouble, someone will immediately find out about it. Beacon technology is the key innovation in this system. Dr. Mark leads research at Rice University of South Africa and founded Safety from Space. He explains that the beacon can handle transmission for up to 10 hours even in low power conditions. And this becomes extremely important for those astronauts who are going far from their base for work or exploration and they have limited battery life. The waveform technology developed by their team ensures that communication with astronauts remains stable and energy efficient, which is extremely important for survival in space. Another feature of this system is real-time tracking. The satellite network continuously monitors the astronauts' location, allowing mission control to track their movements. Even in situations where they lose contact with the base or ground control, and this capability becomes especially important at that time when an astronaut gets stuck behind a very tall mountain or in a deep crater. In such emergency conditions, if we know the astronaut's exact precise location, it saves us valuable time that would otherwise be spent locating and tracking them. And we can focus all our attention on quickly carrying out the rescue operation. This system is also designed to work automatically. This technology is not just a safety measure, this could prove to be a game changer for space exploration. Continuous communication and location tracking let astronauts explore farther. This assures astronauts that if they go on a dangerous mission on the moon, they won't be alone. If anything goes wrong anywhere, help will be available to them immediately. Applications beyond the moon. The most exciting aspect of this rescue system is that it will not only be used on the moon, but we will also be able to use this system beyond the moon, just as humanity is preparing for missions to Mars and other deep space destinations. The need for communication and rescue technology is also increasing just as rapidly. The challenges we face on the moon, such as communication blackouts and long response times, will become even more daunting on Mars. Suppose an astronaut gets stuck in a serious situation on Mars. It would take more than 20 minutes for a distress call to reach Earth from there. And in such emergency situations, every single minute becomes extremely critical, and this is just a small difference in time. That could become the difference between life and death there. But with the use of this new system, if someone gets into trouble, beacon technology will immediately send this information to ground control on Earth. But at the same time, the information will also reach the base built on Mars, so that along with them, a rescue plan can be made quickly to help that astronaut. A team of researchers from the University of South Africa has developed a version of this technology to be used on Earth as well, which is called Beagle. This technology can be very useful here on Earth in remote or hazardous environments, or in search and rescue efforts. For example, from mountaineers stranded in the Himalayas to first responders working in disaster zones, Beagle provides low-power communication even if other conventional networks fail there. But this technology is so reliable that it will keep working even in the worst conditions. Beagle's two-way communication feature makes it even more useful. Unlike traditional Save Our Souls systems that only send one signal, Beagle also lets people communicate with rescuers so that they can update people about their situation. This real-time information can be very helpful for rescuers in making and executing their plans. This also saves time and shows how space technology can be beneficial for humanity, whether it's about rescuing astronauts on the moon or saving people trapped in serious situations on Earth. Beagle technology ensures that anyone who is using this technology, they never go out of reach in any way. They remain connected in any situation. This new lunar distress system is a big step for the safety of astronauts as we are preparing for long-term missions to the moon, Mars, and beyond. But for this, it becomes very important for us to have a reliable communication and rescue system. Space exploration is full of many unknown and mysterious dangers, and without such innovations, the risks become much higher. And when it comes to human life, we can't take any chances. But the impact of this technology goes beyond space as well. Beagle can bring a revolution in search and rescue operations here on Earth as well, and this shows us the capability of this new system. This shows how the innovations happening through space exploration are making a difference in our daily lives and everyday routines. How they are getting even better, whether it's the moon or the remote areas of Earth. This technology ensures that if someone is stuck in a bad situation or in an emergency, they can always contact someone. And on Earth, this technology can be very useful for marine sailors. We often hear that many accidents happen at sea due to lack of help, and this is nothing less than a blessing there. As National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Artemis program moves forward, our dream of exploring a new world is also about to come true. But exploration is only possible when it is safe. Many thanks to the researchers of the University of South Africa for their commendable work. Now, whether astronauts are on the moon, on Mars, or in any unknown place, they can go there with full confidence, even knowing that there is danger there. But they also know that they have a lifeline. There is a trust that if they get into any trouble, the people behind them will come to save them. Nowadays, China has started increasing its influence in space, and soon China is going to become the third space power in the world. But China's sudden aggression in space has started to worry the major space powers. That's just how things are on the ground. We know what China's attitude is like, how it has enslaved many countries even today, and how it is using various tactics to occupy the lands of other countries. But a major space agency like National Aeronautics and Space Administration believes that China is going to do the same thing in space, and this threat could be very serious for the whole world. National Aeronautics and Space Administration Administrator Bill Nelson recently claimed that China could occupy the moon and drive other countries away from there. However, China has denied any such claim, saying that China will not occupy any space territory. But at the same time, Bill Nelson insists that it's a fact we are in a space race, even if it doesn't doesn't sound too strange or frightening. If that happens, Earth's situation will get much worse. The entire Earth and the world's economy can be run from the moon. And if the moon falls into the hands of a dictator like China, then nothing can stop the entire human race from becoming enslaved in the 21st century. Here, only three superpowers, the United States of America, Russia, and China, are in the space race, but the world can't escape its impact. Everyone knows about the political ties between the United States of America, Russia, and China. But still, National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the Russian Space Agency, Roscosmos, have a long history of cooperation in space exploration. Both countries share the same space station, but National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the emerging China National Space Administration, China National Space Administration, lack a shared history. When they are rivals on the ground, this rivalry will continue in space as well. And in today's date, you can clearly see this happening. China sent its first taikonaut, that is, Chinese astronaut, to space in 2003. Whereas Russia had already sent Yuri Gagarin to space 42 years earlier, and National Aeronautics and Space Administration had sent astronauts to the moon 34 years before China. But seeing China's aggressive approach in space, everyone feels that in the future, there could be controversies or even war over space territories. It's controversial due to competition between National Aeronautics and Space Administration and China's space missions. We're not saying at all that America can't take control of the moon first, it absolutely can. You'll find out the reason for that later in this video. So, where the United States of America has launched the Artemis program. To go to the moon again, China and Russia together have created the Artemis Accord, which is an international partnership in which other countries will also be able to contribute. You will find its link in the description. You can check it out, but you won't see China and Russia there. Both countries were intentionally kept out of this agreement. The United States Congress refused to allow National Aeronautics and Space Administration to collaborate with China. And Russia itself did not sign this agreement. They said that this agreement was completely focused on the United States of America, and for this reason, China and Russia came together and established a joint project to put the United States of America on the back foot. The International Lunar Research Station, which will be a permanent moon base on the moon. Although technically there is no direct conflict between National Aeronautics and Space Administration and China's missions, this is about to start another space race, the space race of the 21st century. All countries know what benefits can come from establishing a moon base on the moon. But according to space law, no country can legally claim land on the moon. But the increasing tension between countries can show us how weak our space laws are and how they can be misused. Except for Earth, all space is unclaimed and open for anyone with abundant resources available. There are 5 treaties in international space law, but here we need to focus on the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. This treaty covers the moon and other celestial bodies. Most alarming is that this treaty relies only on moral values and principles. This is just given to countries as advice. There are no such rules in it that can prevent any country from carrying out a specific activity in outer space. It means that if China or America wants to take over the moon, no one can stop them. And the only thing that can stop them are their own values and principles which can restrain them. The treaty says outer space exploration should benefit all countries and humanity. All countries can freely explore outer space, but no one can claim ownership over it. The moon and other celestial bodies should be used for the peace and prosperity of humanity, and astronauts will represent mankind, meaning they will act in the interest of humanity. So, the essence of the Outer Space Treaty is simply that no single entity should use any celestial body for its own benefit. Rather, all of humanity has a right to it. So, this is an overview of the Outer Space Treaty. It also contains many things worth understanding. If you want, we can make a separate video on that as well. But for now, we will talk about the moon agreement in this treaty because this whole fight is just about this one moon. So this agreement has been made separately to protect the rights of the moon and other planets. It also says that all these bodies should be used for the benefit of mankind and no single human nation can claim ownership over them. But the root of the space race happening in the 21st century is also this agreement, because because none of the superpowers signed this agreement. United States of America, Russia, and China also did not sign this agreement. Because these countries ignore treaties, they occupy the moon. Although there are some other things in this treaty that could backfire, to some extent it is also correct. For example, this point about jurisdiction states that if a country launches or lands something in space or on a body, that object stays under that country's authority. For example, if China builds a research facility on the moon, then China will have authority over it. But from here, it is not clear to us how much area around that facility will remain under China's authority and for how long. If a country covers a very large area, will that entire area come under that country's control? And if there are valuable minerals for mining in that facility, what will happen to them? Will those also come under that country's control? And these are some of the loopholes that any country can take advantage of to capture land and resources on the moon, and that's why there's a race to go to the moon. Because everyone knows that these treaties and agreements will be left aside. Soon, those with resources will be superpowers as Earth's resources keep depleting. The moon is our next target, which is causing panic due to its aggressive approach. So friends, I hope you have got answers to your questions. Registration closes on February 27th, and those subscribers who are industry experts, research scholars, or subject professors, if you want to share your knowledge with engineering students, then definitely fill out the application form given in the description. The link is in the description. Friends, I hope you liked this video. If you enjoyed it, please like it and definitely share it with your friends. For more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and enable the bell notification.